believers. This is going to be a tiny live stream. So because of that, I'm not going to wait till everyone comes in, because the live stream will not take very long. I'm making this live stream while I'm waiting for my clothes to be dry, as you can see here. And just to show you, it's night over here. So that's the situation over here. There's Wi-Fi in this laundry service, so that's why I'm able to make this live stream. And the battery of my phone, it isn't charged, but the electricity isn't really working here, so it's another thing. Let me try it anyway. This live stream will be about understanding commotion. Commotion is an inevitable thing in the world. You cannot avoid it. Let me explain why. Because worldlings cannot be trusted on the long term. For the simple reason that they are codependent on society. Anyone that's codependent on society, you can't entrust them with anything on the long term. On the short term, you can entrust them with few things. You're about to go to the bathroom, you ask, could you watch my back for me? There are worldlings that will do it. Sometimes even thieves will think, you know what, I don't care. Just go to the bathroom, I'll wait until you're back. So on the short term, you can entrust things to worldlings, some worldlings. But worldlings, on the long term, you cannot entrust yourself to them. Christ did not do it. So why are we believers doing it? That's another thing. Too often, we believers do things that even Christ did not do. We shouldn't think that we're more holy and more righteous and more loving than Christ himself. But okay, I don't want to digress too much. Commotion is a natural, it's not natural that there's commotion, because we are designed to be at peace and harmony with one another. But in the world, because worldlings are self-focused, often when one worldling gets an advantage over other worldlings, that one worldling tends to use this advantage at the expense of the ones he has an advantage over. For those that come in, let me know in the live chat that you're here. This tiny live stream is about understanding commotion, why there's in the world. In the world, when one individual gains a leverage, that means that others, who are also vulnerable creatures, they lose options. If you need bread and there's a baker over there, the baker has the advantage because he delivers bread. Unless you have your own grain supply and your own oven, the baker has a leverage over you. That means you need to get along with the baker to get your bread. And there's nothing wrong with getting along with the baker to get your bread. But what if this baker has control issues like most worldling has, and he wants to control other people? Now, people will be hesitant with him opening another bakery, or maybe even becoming wealthy in that community. Why? Because when he had just a small bakery, he was already controlling people. And now that he has more wealth, that means that he will extend his control issues over others. It's such kind of disturbed by it, because that individual has issues that will afflict others the more leverage he gets. So sometimes commotion is justified, but most of the time it's not. Most of the time when there's commotion in the world, it's just because people don't want to surrender. That is what's going on. So look, if you have someone in the neighborhood that's narcissistic, it doesn't really concern others unless he can get something out of them. And that individual gains a lot of money, or that individual now begins to decide over their lives for others. People, of course, people have to be against that. But if someone is not afflicting anyone, but at the same time, he doesn't allow commoners to control him, and that individual gains wealth, now commoners will be upset with that. Why? Because now they will have to deal with someone that refused their control issues. So what if commoners decide, you know what, this individual doesn't allow us to control him, so he doesn't exist to us? What if that same individual that doesn't exist now becomes big in the community and they have no choice but to deal with that individual? Now everyone gets upset, everyone wants to fight because now they feel like they're forced to deal with someone. They should deal with the individual anyway because he's part of the community. But if I go with worldlings, they crave control above all. So if you don't allow them to have a grip on you, you are finished. That's how it goes. So understand, believer, commotion in the world is a common thing. Sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not. Look, if someone who never completed medical school now becomes a surgeon to perform surgeries, of course there must be commotion. But if someone is righteous, they're walking by faith, and they don't cause any harm to anyone, and they're the ones increasing in power in the community, then no such commotion against individuals should exist. Just know, believer, that commotion is not something that you can avoid. It's something that you have to face as a believer. It's something that will come, but you don't have to allow it to overtake you. You don't have to allow it to just happen to you just like that. You can bypass commotion, as I've explained in another live stream. You can do it. But just realize that no matter how much you avoid being in the spotlight, there is no such thing as privacy. Privacy does not exist. Privacy is a hoax, especially as a believer, because everyone else operates in a negative and you operate in a positive. The fact that you operate in a positive already draws attention to you. So don't think that anything you do will go unnoticed. Even those in darkness do things and they don't go unnoticed. And they can hide things for a long time and eventually all will come out. So believer, be prepared to deal with commotion. We all will go through it as believers. Again, this was supposed to be a tiny live stream. It's very quiet around here. Let's see, my laundry is almost done. Oh, just 6 minutes. One more thing, believer. One more thing. Always walk by faith, no matter what happens. Be at peace.